Before I call on Ms. Giffords, I just want to state the fact that Ms. Giffords' district borders with Mexico in Arizona, and I wanted just to call to her attention, as I had mentioned before, that just 2 weeks ago, the Office of the National Drug Control Policy released its 2009 National Southwest Border Counter-Narcotics Strategy, which for the first time includes a chapter on combating illicit firearms trafficking to Mexico. So I've had many discussions about this with Ms. Giffords, and it's an issue of very much concern to her. And in the fall, I'm hoping to go to her district and perhaps do a field hearing with this subcommittee to talk about this issue and other issues, immigration, whatever, involving the border between Mexico and, of course, Arizona. So I call on Ms. Giffords for her remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your leadership on the subcommittee. We look forward to having you and other members of the committee that are interested in coming down really to the front lines of what's happening in terms of the violence and the drug smuggling across the U.S.-Mexico border. I want to welcome Mr. Ford. Good afternoon. It's great to have you here today. I was recently appointed the vice chair of the U.S.-Mexico Interparliamentary Work Group, where just a couple weeks ago we, Mexicans and Americans, came together, members of the House and the Senate on both sides of the border, to talk about the variety of issues that we have at hand. And it's an important meeting, but particularly in light of what's happening with illegal immigration and drug smuggling and the violence as well. Last February, 6 colleagues and I requested the GAO report to look at the flow of firearms across the border. And in contradiction to some comments that were made earlier, I'm very proud of the work that the GAO does. The GAO as well, we asked to do a report looking at the checkpoint issue along the U.S.-Mexico border, and to see the dedication of members of the GAO that come out, they get to know the districts in the area, sometimes better than the members, frankly. It was incredibly impressive. So if you would please compliment and pass on the words to your staff, it is a tremendous resource that we have the GAO available to us, and I think your work is excellent. I think this hearing is timely. Looking at drug violence since 2006, it's claimed over 10,000 lives. Just last week, the Mexican Army captured 25 gunmen in the state of Chihuahua, seized 29 automatic rifles. That's the same day that authorities in the western state of Michoacan reported that 3 federal agents had been killed in 2 attacks along the highway. And investigators there recovered more than 500 shell casings at the 2 crime scenes. So this report allows us to highlight the need for additional resources, again, on both sides of the border. We are not going to solve this problem on our side. They're not going to solve it on their side unless we work cooperatively together. Again, Mr. Chairman, I do represent the most heavily trafficked district in terms of illegal immigrants coming into the United States. That's the Tucson sector of the Border Patrol, and we see more violence and more guns and more drugs flowing both ways, and it's a problem that we have to address. So again, thank you for your leadership on this, and we're looking forward to hearing from your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ford, you mentioned that the data is the data, but one of the issues that the Mexicans have been bringing up for about 11 years is the fact that when they go to putting in the data in E-Trace, it's only in English, and I wanted to talk about why is it that we can't, with all of the technology that we have out there, convert this over into Spanish language?
Okay, well, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's actually one of the State Department's programs to try to expedite the use of Spanish E-Trace. I don't know the current status of where that is. We also don't know why it's taken them this long to convert that process into Spanish. We don't think it should be that difficult to do that. But there are some logistical issues, because one of the issues within Mexico is they want to be able to report information throughout the entire country. Right now, they have very limited capability in terms of people that can know how to use the E-Trace system itself. They have to be trained. And secondly, they haven't deployed the system throughout the entire country. So that may be one of the constraining factors, but we believe, and one of our recommendations to the State Department was they need to expedite this whole process.
Thank you, Mr.